Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. If my voice sounds a little odd today, and the video looks a little odd, it's because I am recording this after the fact. Because the audio failed to record for this episode. So you're going to get a 20-minute time-lapse of what I did last episode. Which primarily involved implementing the lithium-ion batteries. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out where to put it because it requires that cobalt dust to make the lithium, one of the lithium components. So I'm just going over the various components and materials that are required, which we have to make lithium water from the pumps, convert that to lithium through an electrolyzer, and there's a separate process that involves converting the lithium through there's an electrolysis process that produces one lithium component and a metal mixing process that makes the lithium cobalt alloy. So I'm looking around, and what I realize in a few minutes here is that I really just need to make the factory area bigger. My original thought was I was going to just squeeze it in next to the stone brick related production lines, but I very quickly realized that I need to expand this wall anyways. Ooh, Kate's sounding a little unhappy up there. So we're just laying in some new walls to expand our operational area. And the goal of this is primarily going to be to get our production of accumulators back online, because that's where my big problem has been forming as far as power supply is going. It's really it's not the solar panels that are the issue, even though that's what I have upgraded first. My power production is upgraded, but I don't have an upgrade for the I don't have an upgrade for the accumulators yet, and I did. But then the recipes for everything got changed. So I'm just moving the defenses forward, so those lovely waves of biters and stuff we keep having don't murder my base, because that would be unfortunate. And I'm just trying to figure out how to place these things so that the network will work okay. Oh yes, I got the idea. Rather than placing that last one, I'm using it as a ghost, so that the ghost placement, so that the robots will bring them rather than me having to run out of materials. I'm pretty much just ignoring those oil deposits until I actually start having serious trouble with oil supply. I think I'm just not going to worry about it. So now I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to expand the network here. And part that I'm having real trouble with is exactly where to place it relative to the other network. And I realized that my network is not really ideally laid out. So I'm just trying to figure out how to fix that. I don't know if I did an optimal solution for it. Getting my robots to get all the crap out of the way now. Takes me a moment before I realize that I should be probably taking out those old walls as well. But, yep, there it goes. Got it. Gotta love those construction robots. Zoom! And yeah, just getting the whole thing laid out. Waiting for that thing to activate so that I can get everything in place. And I decided to move the walls outside of the main base area, or out there, so that I can have a nice wide defensive line. It's actually amazing how far those robots will actually fly to do their jobs. It's kind of cool. Getting rid of... Oh, managing to break some walls already. But the robots will come and fix that in just a moment. And I don't recall, I think I might have missed the fact that I just put that outside of the logistics network. Yep, I did. Just noticed that myself. Okay. So now that we actually have room, now I'm just looking at the recipes, refreshing my memory again, and what I'm going to do for a few minutes here is sort of wander around debating exactly where to put this and where to actually manufacture the batteries. I think I finally conclude, well, okay, I'm just explaining all the different materials I'm going to need for this, which are actually all readily available at this end of the manufacturing line. I just haven't quite put 2 and 2 together on that yet. Just figuring out the manufacturing chain, because it's a medium complexity. So we're just I'm putting in the 4 pumps to start, but I decide to I'll be switching that around later. Oh, right. I keep on changing my mind about things here. I'm trying to figure out how to place the pumps, and now I've realized that it doesn't matter if I can't walk through those spaces. So I zap in some pipe. That's lithia water, which is, I don't know exactly how it differs, but this is going to make the lithium oxide material. I think I go with 4 of those at the end, primarily because something blew up. I never did catch what that was, but I'm going to have to check. Ah, good, I did go with the 4 right away. The reason I went with 4 is because I can use the low budget belt balancing system. So now I'm just thinking about how to set up this next step of the process. The requirements for cobalt, lithium cobalt, and the other lithium compound is a 2-to-1 ratio. So I'm thinking about how to actually implement it with a 2-to-1 ratio. I'm also thinking about how to get rid of the excess hydrogen. I realize that there's a hydrogen tank with an evacuation system already in place, which is good news. Should also mention, I'm just starting to think about researching the various components of my future power armor, which is coming soon. These batteries are actually an important step towards it. But I'm also contemplating. I also did do the work to fix the sulfur disposal system, so that it was. I was having some trouble with it still. So I'm going to have to do some more tweaking work on it to make it work right and figure out how to actually deal with the oversupply. But at this point, I'm actually starting to dial up manufacturing again, so oversupply of sulfur dioxide is not a huge deal. Then I realized that I need water for this, and that is something that will cause me grief here in the near future. I also realize I need the cobalt powder for this, so I'm reconfiguring everything again. It's yeah. Oh, I realized that the lithium is actually a mid-stage. It's kind of funny. And in a couple moments, I'll realize that I need to make some more room. Just tapping existing water supply there, I think. Yep, there we are. Now I'm fixing that. Giving enough room for the actual water supply we'll need. Pipe. And the phrase close enough comes to mind right there. I don't know if I've researched the personal roboport yet, but okay. So next, we need to get rid of that hydrogen. I was actually checking. There was a weird labeling thing. I couldn't actually check what compound that was I was working with, so I actually had to excuse me, pull it out of there to find out what the heck it was called to make sure it was the stuff I was actually supposed to get. Thank goodness it was. There wasn't a third mystery compound there. I also decide in a moment to put an electric pump in here to make the hydrogen removal a little more efficient. Just to keep this system from slowing. There we go. And that just pushes it into the tank area faster. Okay, that takes care of that. Now the next step is we need to get cobalt. And we also need these, or cobalt dust. Unfortunately, copper is something we're going to need lots of. Yeah. Now I'm thinking about exactly how this is being laid out here. I will admit it's causing me a touch of grief deciding how to lay this whole place out. I was trying to think about how to make it more expandable, and I'm honestly failing quite miserably at it. I'm rapidly realizing that I need to be able to make this a proper expandable system. And I also need to bring over this cobalt. So what I'm doing is I'm turning around the boxes that were buffering that stuff. I probably will reconfigure that to not just buffer, but also to reconfigure them as a simultaneous buffer and temporary storage area, so that they can do both properly. And this is the part where I'm trying to decide exactly where to put this. So I'm fiddling around trying to figure out where exactly I need to put these things so that I'll actually have enough room. I finally decide I'll just buffer some lithium in the system. And there's a problem solved, because I need enough room to put in the cobalt belt as well. I think I made a comment, and then I realized, oops, I made a little mistake. Fortunately, it wasn't a severe little mistake, but yeah, you know, a mistake nonetheless. Okay, just pondering things here. I'm pretty content with that setup. And then we need one of those. And that goes in there, and now we have production of the cobalt ion. So now I'm sitting there trying to figure out where I want to ship this stuff to. So I'm, pondering exactly what it's going to take. Taking things apart manually, keep forgetting that I actually can, build robots. And so the next step is going to be, I actually wound up putting that power pole in the exact wrong place. Turns out you can actually erase blueprints that way, making sure the logistics are covered. So I was thinking about putting it over near the science labs for a bit. And it took me a bit. It takes me a little while to actually figure out where I'm going to put these bloody things. And then I thought maybe over towards the other end of the factory. And then finally what it comes down to is, I think, well, more logistics robots. I'm having some trouble figuring out why the logistics robots aren't actually being built. I know I made a tweak there, but I can't remember exactly what that tweak was. It feels like something wasn't right. And I realized that the logistics robot manufacturer was being based off of construction robots, I believe. So, fixed that. And then I realized that everything I need is basically right here in this conveniently sized gap I left. Quite unintentionally, but it worked out really well. So I'm just now thinking about how to bring all the materials into the same location. Looking at the next tier of robots. Not quite there yet. I need those next tier circuits next, and I also need to start making titanium, which is a whole other thing. Okay. And then I'm redesigning everything again, because I realized that, well, there's absolutely no reason that I would need to have that space that I have there, and it actually makes all this a little easier. Okay, and that's the cobalt, and yeah, I decided to put it right there. And I'm going to do 2 of them to start, I believe. Was it right there, or did I move it? It's funny, I can't even remember. Yeah, I think I moved it a few times. this stuff over. I don't know, I feel like it's necessary to have a little buffer like that, but it really isn't. I'm bringing it down much, much further than actually winds up being necessary, I believe. I'm sitting here thinking about it, looking at the space available, and realizing those stone bricks are really, really in the way. And I'm thinking about how to get carbon. I realize that what I come up with is the carbon is going to have to go... Basically, the place where I put those factories to begin with was the right location. I just hadn't quite put two and two together on that yet. I'm also thinking about the plastic. Just looking for more things to research. So now we're going to tap the plastic line. And I believe I want to put the plastic on one side of the belt only. And the reason for that is, yeah, so that, because I only need one side of the belt covered. I'm taking advantage of these amazingly long underground belts. And then what we're going to do is we're going to load the carbon. I'm having trouble figuring out where to put it when I finally realize, yeah, I've made some mistakes. Push those all the way back there. Put those there and there with a supply chest in the middle. Passive provider. That's my phone. Okay. So we're doubling up on the production of those first ones because, or the input of the first ones because it's a 2-to-1 ratio. That gives us that 2-to-1 effect. It works out just about perfectly. So now we're going to make the carbon. I want to leave us enough room to make it in quantity if necessary. And that's the last component for this, actually. And I was going to use that water right there before I realized that that's actually the power plant's water. And decided maybe that's not the best use for that water. So instead I tap the pumps right there. Or try to. It doesn't go entirely perfectly. And so then I suddenly realized, you know, I don't really need 3-4 pumps producing lithium water. So I grab a pump and set her up right there. That'll go to carbon production. And I can't remember if I decided to move it down one or if I managed to figure out how to actually... Oh, no, I remember. Easy solution for that. I'm thinking about it, and I just use a splitter to create a little carbon grab bag. That's going to clear out the carbon on that extra belt, and then I'll be able to finally tie that belt there into the rest of the coal network. And then carbon, because it's only 1-to-1 ratio, and I somehow managed to get that belt for the plastic at exactly the right location. And bingo, we've got battery production online. I'm going to do 4-stack buffer, because it's used for science pack production, the science packs 5s. So I think we're coming up on the end of the episode here. I gotta be careful, I can't actually see how far along we are yet. We're almost done. I'm just doing a little bit of work on balancing out production here, because as it turns out, I really start consuming some of these resources fast here. And yeah, now I realize lithium is not set up to work the way I need it to, so I put it onto a belt instead. And then I realize, let me see, that lithium is being underproduced now, and I'm sort of shaking my fist and cursing a little. And then I just add another lithium producing line. That's number 2. And if that works, put in a number, if that's not enough, we'll put in a number 3. But it's actually starting to backlog a little, so I figure that's good for that. It's producing reasonably well. I think any further production enhancement I'm going to do... Okay, now what was I running out of there? Oh yeah, now I'm building speed modules. Or putting speed modules in everything, because why the heck not? Now these things are producing crazy fast. I decide that this one doesn't need speed modules because it's a screaming fast production process already. If anything, I'm going to put in production. I think I put in production modules, among other things. And now I'm setting up the requester or a requester chest to pull in those necessary batteries. And find the one spot that doesn't have any power, but that's okay. And there we are. Accumulator production is back online. And we are laughing because now I'll be able to do some upgrades. In fact, I believe I do a bit of upgrading off camera. But that's all for today's episode, everyone. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.